Hello, I'm Julie Thompson. Welcome to the Silver Lake Regional School Committee candidate interview. I want to take a moment to thank our candidate for participating in this interview and collaborating with PAC TV to bring this informational programming to residents and voters this election season. Let me explain the format. Today, Emily Davis will be interviewed. Emily will have 2 minutes to introduce herself, speak about her background, her qualifications, and why she's running for office. I will then ask a series of questions related to local issues. Emily will be hearing the questions for the first time during this forum. She will have 2 minutes to answer the questions. After the questions, she'll have a 2-minute closing remark section. The 2-minute time frame will be shown on the screen for Emily to see. Let's get started, Emily. You're going to have an opening statement and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Julie. I'm sharing with you the same information that I shared back in December with the Kingston Selectmen. For over 15 years, I've mapped my own unique exploration of pedagogy, philosophy, curriculum, and instruction through various education settings around the globe. 3 years ago, my family and I settled here in Kingston, in our forever home on Clifton Drive. My daughter, Olivia, is a first grader at Kingston Elementary School, and my son, Nelson, goes to preschool here in the town. My husband is a veteran teacher at South Shore Technical in Hanover, and I look forward to continuing to bring knowledge and experience to the from Kingston to the Silver Lake Regional School District and the school committee. I'm deeply passionate about all things educational. I left the classroom 2 years ago when my daughter Olivia started kindergarten, so I would have more time to be available before and after school. Since that time, I've worked remotely, even before it was the new norm, as a development manager for custom curriculum for a publicly traded education company. I'm endlessly curious and a true lifelong learner, and I bring that enthusiasm to all of my work. Having also done editing work and grant writing, I'm extremely detail-oriented and an excellent communicator. If you ask colleagues about me, you'd likely hear that I'm a team player with strong skills in communication, problem solving, thinking outside the box, and engaging any audience. As a veteran teacher, I'm well-versed in managing multiple projects and a master at time management. I bring experience and perspective as both an educator and a parent. I love the Silver Lake Regional School District's model and the opportunity that students have to learn both academics and career and technical education with rich arts and athletics programs. I'm excited to continue to get involved in the school district and to serve in any way needed to continue to make the district an exceptional place to learn and grow.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Julie.
much. So now we're going to go on to question number 1. School districts constantly face budget constraints. Can you talk about what ways do you see the district moving forward or stagnating under the conditions we're in right now? You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think that it's really important that constituents understand the difference in the way that schools can be funded. So the difference between level funding and level services. So whether or not we're funding the exact same amount of money or we're funding the exact same services. And I think it's critical as a school district that we work for level services. I understand that we're in an economic time where we really do need to make cuts. And I think if folks listened in recently to the budget presentations by Dr. Prue, you see we've already begun to have those tough conversations. But I also think that residents should understand that a flourishing school district brings a lot to a community. It increases our property taxes and the value of our town. It draws in more folks to the town, which in turn brings more tax dollars. So I think as we move into this budget season, which we've already started for the upcoming fiscal year, having those conversations about what are the resources that we're able to kind of postpone, whether they're capital purchases or continued purchases that are kind of each year. I know we've been having conversations around some of the tech. We had obviously a big increase in tech purchases over the last year as the need when more students were remote, but really looking at that and kind of thinking critically about how we're funding and what we're funding. But I'm a huge proponent of level service funding in the school district.
Okay, great. Thank you. And now we'll go to question number 2. Due to the rising costs of attending college, many students are looking to join the trades after high school. What are your thoughts on growing and or expanding the CTE program to address this need? You have 2 minutes.
I love it. That's one of my favorite things about Silver Lake. So my husband works in Hanover. He's an academic teacher, but at the the South Shore Technical. I also worked there for a while. I actually didn't go straight from high school to college. I took 2 years off and I did AmeriCorps programs in Boston. I actually helped found the City Air Little Rock site in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I am a deep believer that college should be an option for every student, but that we should not be setting that as the precedent for every student. I don't think every career and every valuable career requires a college education. I think the more that our schools can explore ways to help students provide lifelong opportunities for career exploration, it's really, really critical. I'm reminded of there's a John Dewey. He was an education philosopher 100 years ago. And he said, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. And it's one of my favorite education quotes. And I think it's more relevant now than ever. I think that Silver Lake is an incredible district in that we pull in from multiple towns, but also that we have that opportunity to have the CTE programs and the academics side by side in the same building. Where some other towns have to send their students out to a separate school district for that provision. I would love to see them continue to explore what are the careers of the future, things like coding and then trades as well, like childhood education. I love that that's a part of the program. And what are the future careers and what can we be training kids in where they're realistically going to have job opportunities, and reevaluating that on a regular basis is critical, I think, to any school district at this juncture in time. And I think that COVID has posed the opportunity for us to really take a hard look at making some paradigm shifts in education and what we value as community and how we approach that education.
Great, thank you. Okay, and now we're going to go on to question number 3. As we know, in the past 11 months, school districts have had to drastically change course due to the effects of COVID-19 on our communities and our society overall. What, if any, impact do you think the experiences of the past year will have on the school district's strategic plan moving forward? You have 2 minutes.
I mean, it's hard to imagine that it wouldn't have. I'm a huge silver linings fan, so I think there's a lot of opportunity to look for the silver linings here. I know that Principal Gill and Principal DePiel are already talking about what are the parts of this experience that we want to keep? What can we continue moving forward? Whether it's things like using outdoor space. In the past, people have said, no, we don't go outside for class. That's not how learning happens. It has to happen within these 4 walls or it's not real learning. But the reality is that there's real value for kids getting outside. So I think we're already starting to have those conversations about what are we keeping and what's changing. I think when you look at our strategic plans as a school district, things like collaboration, professional development, our strategic plans are really built around setting learning opportunities for diverse needs for all of our learners. And I think that having things like online opportunities for education, hybrid models are still an option. I'm not saying that this year has been perfect by any stretch. I think our district has done an exceptional job. I work with people from all over the country and I hear what's happening all around the country. And I know that we're really doing an outstanding job. And I think there's things that we can take from that, whether it's allowing students to continue to do independent studies and use hybrid learning models in order to implement that, whether it means professional development that includes hybrid learning models and professional development that includes electronic meetings as opposed to in-person meetings to allow flexibility for staff members. We've been talking about engaging stakeholders. I think this year that has been a challenge as we can really limit it in our community engagement. And I think that's something that we definitely need to evaluate moving forward.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to closing remarks. You will have 2 minutes to give yours. Go right ahead.
As I've said, I'm going to really believe deeply in the programs that Silver Lake has to offer, but I also hope that as a community, we really take this opportunity that we are kind of uniquely presented with and find all of the silver linings. Find this as an opportunity for us to really say, what do we like about the way we're doing school, whether it's as a town, as a state, as an entire country, what do we like about what we're doing and what do we not like and what changes do we want to make moving forward? Not to just kind of go back to the way it's always been, because that's the way it's always been, but really say, what are the things we want to purposefully keep And what are the things we want to purposefully change? I know that a lot of districts are talking, ours included, about the cohort model, that kind of getting to know students well. When you have a big school like the high school, when you kind of break students down into smaller cohorts, what does that mean when teachers can kind of get to know their students well in that smaller community? And I know the middle school's been working in similar structure over the last year, and really the values of those pieces of it. I hope that our community embraces the idea of change in education, as opposed to trying to go back to the way things were. I know we all want to get our students back in school the way things were, but what that looks like and how we do it, I think, is something for us to really open our minds to. I know that that's something that Dr. Prue, that Principal Gill and Principal DePiel have already been thinking about and talking about, as this is the time of year when administrators are really looking forward to the next school year and starting to think about the program of studies and the way that the school will be organized, the way the schedule will be set up, the kinds of classes that will be offered and curriculum that we'll be implementing. I really look forward to this election and hope that the community supports me in continuing to serve on the school committee.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for participating, Emily, in this interview. We wish you the best of luck throughout your campaign and in the election. For our viewers, thank you for joining us. If you're interested in watching replays of this interview, please visit our website, pactv.org/elections, for replay times and online viewing options, including PAC TV's on-demand and streaming service, PAC TV Prime. And please make your choices heard by voting on Saturday, April 24th. Thank you and good day.